Okay, so in this week's lesson, we're going to be talking about the power of minor triads and all the cool things you can do with minor triads. Now, we're not going to be playing in a minor key this week. That's what makes it really cool. We're going to be looking at how you take minor triads and play them on top of major chords to get a completely different sound. You can get all kinds of different chord sounds. You can use them in your lead playing, in your rhythm playing. This is a very powerful thing, and it's easy to do. That's why I'm such a fan of it. We're going to be looking at the top 3 strings. So these 3 different minor triad positions will be all played on the top 3 strings, and we're going to break it down into a composition. In fact, here's what that composition sounds like. So in this video, we're going to go through all the lesson material. If you'd like to learn how to play that composition note for note, I've got it all tabbed out. You can get the tab PDF file as well as the on-screen tab viewer, which has the video and the tab on the screen at the same time. There's no talking in it. It's just a playthrough, but you can slow down playback. You can loop sections. It's just a great way to learn if you want to get right to the notes. So you can get those extra materials for this lesson by going to activemelody.com and doing a search for ML144. All right, so a triad is just a 3-note chord. So when I play these 3 notes together, that's it. That's what a triad is. And so there's nothing, super technical about them. Last week we looked at major triads. In fact, I put together a little blues composition that you can play by yourself, pretty much all based around major triads. I'll put that lesson up on the screen if you'd like to check that out. But this week we're going to be looking at minor triads, not playing in a minor key though. So let's just go into this little composition here and jump right into it. So we're going to be looking at something in the key of A, and I'm in this position. This is my A chord using the E shape from the Cage system. And if I look at the top 3 strings of this, I have this triad here. And most of you are probably familiar with this triad. But I bet some of you didn't think about the fact that you could take the root note and just drop it down 1 fret, keep playing the other 2 notes, and now you have a completely different sounding chord. So now I have an A major 7 sounding triad. And I know that a major 7 chord has 4 notes in it, but we've got 3 of those 4 notes and enough of that chord to sound like a major 7, especially if I play an A in the bass. Listen to this. You can hear that kind of spacey, dreamy sounding chord. It doesn't sound like a minor chord at all, right? The interesting thing is this triad that I've just made out of this one. So I took that major triad and I dropped the 1 down to here. I'm now playing a minor triad. This is actually a C sharp minor triad. Listen to this if I play a C sharp in the bass. It's a completely different sound. So these are the same 3 notes, but if I play an A in the bass, you get a dreamy kind of spacey sound. Okay, so your takeaway is inside of every major 7 chord is a minor triad. And so this triad, if I play that against an A, I'm getting the sound of an A major 7. Now I can do what I just did over any triad. This is where it starts to get powerful. So we looked at this one, right? Let's go to the next one up the fretboard going this direction. We're going to stay on those top 3 strings. So that's an A major. Let's look at my next A major triad using the top 3 strings. It looks like this. Now that's the same shape I would make if I'm playing a D chord down in first position. But if I play it all the way up here, I'm playing an A chord. And let's look at the note positions. I've got my 5th, my root, or the 1, and then the 3rd. So what do you have to do to convert this to a major 7 triad? I just have to take the root and drop it 1, right? And then play the other 2. So if I do that over an A, you can hear that same spacey, dreamy chord sound. Listen to that. Here it is down here. And this is also a C sharp minor triad. right? There it is using that E minor shape. Hopefully a light bulb's going off and you're starting to connect this. Even if you don't fully understand the why behind it, just connect it so that you can play that major 7 triad sound easily off of your major triad. Because most of you know your major triads, but a lot of you may not have known that. All you have to do is drop the root in your major triad to get the sound of a major 7. So we've got A chord, A major 7, A major 7. Let's look at the next one up the train line. Let's go on up to here. We're going to play our next A chord. If you know, using the cage system, it would be up here. That's using the A shape. Now this is getting difficult to do on this guitar. If I look at the top 3 strings, because that's what we're focusing on, I've got this triad. You're familiar with this one, right? This is my A triad on the top 3 strings, top part of that A shape. So the order of the notes here are the 1, 3, and 5. All I have to do is take my 1, drop it down 1, and now I'm playing the sound of an A major 7, if it's in context with an A in the bass. Obviously, if I had a C sharp minor in the bass, this would sound like a C sharp minor. And that's the thing about music theory that's so difficult sometimes, is it's not a very literal thing. It really all depends on what's going on. It depends on the context. So, backing up then, we've got our A triad here. This is the 3rd, this is the 5th, this is the root. So all I have to do is drop the root. I've got my A major 7. Here, I've got my 5th, root, and 3rd. Just drop the root. And I've got my A major 7 here, and then same thing up here. Root, 3rd, 5th, drop the root. So those are your 3 minor triad shapes played across the top 3 strings. All right, so let's take that knowledge and apply it to this composition. Here's the first part of that. All right, so the first thing we're doing is playing our open 5th string, which is our A note. And then I play this minor triad. And when you hear that together, you're hearing an A major 7, that dreamy, kind of spacey sound. You hear it in jazz and all the kind of spacey music. And then after that, I came down here to the 7th fret, 2nd string with my pinky. And then I played this little line that goes... I'll just put the tab up and I'm not going to necessarily talk it through, but I just want you to know that these notes, they're all coming from the A major scale. That's all they are. So you have, right? So I'm just playing notes out of that scale. Okay, so my next lead line goes like this. So it started with the open 5th string, that A note again, just to sort of set the A tone, pitch. And then I went into this. Let's go into the 6th fret 3rd string, and then we go to the 2nd string and go 5, 7, 5. So, and what I'm thinking about when I'm playing that, I'm thinking about my A major pentatonic scale pattern too. Right? So connect that, or in my mind, it's connected to this E shape, which is kind of where all of this is coming from. So to me, everything I'm playing here for this A chord part is coming out of this E shape. Even though I'm not playing that shape, that's just the neighborhood that I'm in my mind. So when I played that little line, that's coming out of that A major pentatonic scale, but I wanted you to see this and connect this. That slide from the, in this case, the 7th fret up to the 9th fret on the 2nd string. By jumping up 2 frets, you can jump into the sound of the major 7, even without playing the chord. So I don't have a jam track in this case. All I have that I'm bouncing off is that open 5th string, that open A note. And when I play this, you can hear that even without playing the chord. When you're hearing the 7 from your major scale played against the root, you're hearing the sound of that major 7 chord without playing the chord. And so you don't have to play the full chord to get that sound. You don't even have to have it present. There's enough of it that's hinting at the sound of it. And that's the kind of stuff that just fascinates me about music. That, you know, it's even with 2 notes, it's enough. It's enough to spell out what's going on. So just remember that going forward. When you're playing a lead break and you're in your major pentatonic scale, you can slide up to that major 7. Now if I go up just 1 fret, listen to this. Completely different. That's the flat 7. That's getting more into the blues. You're getting into the minor pentatonic scale. Major pentatonic, minor pentatonic. But I just wanted you to hear the sound of that major 7 with a slide. I use that a lot. And it's something that my fingers just over the years have instinctively learned to do when I'm doing a little finger dance and playing a lead. Okay, so now let's go to the 4 chord to make it interesting. And I chose the key of A because we have these open strings. So that 5th string is my 1 chord, or represents my 1 chord. The open D string can represent my 4 chord. So I'm gonna play the D, that open 4th string, and then watch this. So all I'm doing here is I'm playing my D, and then I'm playing a D major 7, and then coming up here and playing another voicing of it. So I want you to pause the video right now and just quiz yourself. Why is this a D major 7? Just kind of, we've already covered it. Now we didn't cover it for D, we did it for A, but the same principles apply here. So I want you to just quiz yourself and see if you can figure that out. Why this is a D major 7 and why this is a D major 7. I'm gonna assume you've done that. So let's start down here. If I were to play my D chord using the A shape, it'd be here. The top part of that A shape is right here. That's my D chord using the A shape. There's my root, drop the root, and there it is. That's what we just played when I play the D. Now this triad, this little minor triad, is an F sharp minor triad, but that doesn't matter. The names don't matter. Just know where it is in reference to where you are and be able to pull out these sounds. That's what's most important. The sound always trumps the label. So that is my D major 7 triad like this. And then I came up here and played this one. That's that little stair step shape, right? Now this would be coming out of, there's my D chord using the E shape. There's the top 3 strings, right? There's the root, drop the root. It's the same thing we started with. There's my A major 7. There's my D major 7. Hopefully you're seeing that. And the reason I went to this one is just because that's where I was already. I always try and find my nearest neighbor. It just makes it more efficient when you do that, so you're not jumping all over the fretboard. So I was playing, and then I can go and get right into the sound of a D major 7. And so why am I choosing this major 7 thing to begin with? Well, it's just kind of a different sound. It's a pretty kind of spacey sound. And sometimes it's nice to work those notes into your lead playing. Sometimes it's nice to make a little composition out of it. And that's what we're doing here. So after I played this, I played a lead line that goes, and those notes are coming out of my A major scale. Even though we're playing over the D chord, I just stayed in the key of the song just to make it easy. So you just need to know your major scale all over the fretboard. There's actually only 5 positions of it. I mean, there's different ways you can look at it, but I like to connect everything back to the cage system just to make it easy. So for me, I take a shape like the E shape, and I play my major scale there. And then I go to the next shape, which is the D shape. So you just need to know your major scale in all of the different shapes. All right, so we played our A major 7, then our D major 7. And now we're going to go back to the A major 7. I'm going to stay in this neighborhood since I'm already up here. So I ask myself quickly, where's my nearest A major 7 up in this area? And the answer, after I hit the A, is right here. We talked about this towards the beginning of this, but I'm just going to use one finger and do a bar there on the 9th fret, top 3 strings. That's that C sharp minor triad, right? And then I did this little, that's a Jerry Garcia lick that I got from him. Series of pull-offs. So from this 9th fret 1st string, I come up to the 12th fret with my pinky, and I just put a finger on each fret, 12, 11, 10, 9, and I just do a series of pull-offs. So I only pick it once. Now that looks easy when you watch somebody do it, but for some reason that was really difficult for me. I remember spending a lot of time trying to do that. And then after this I came down here. Well, what is this? 4th fret 1st string, 5th fret 2nd string, but what is it? I just came back down to where we started. So just played those 2 notes, but it's out of that triad. So it still sounds like that major 7 sound. So now the song's going to go to the 5 chord, which is our E. So I've got my open E string here, so I can hit that. So can I play my E major 7? That would be the logical thing to do, right? We did A major 7 for the 1, D major 7 for the 4. No, you cannot play an E major 7. It will not work. It's just going to clash. For an E, you could do an E6, I can do an E9, I can do an E7, which is a dominant 7, has a flat 7. I cannot do an E major 7. It's just not going to work. So what I ended up doing was this. Now what is that? It's still kind of got that spacey, dreamy thing. It's a little different, but what I'm doing, I'm using one finger and hitting the top 3 strings. Now we've done that before. In fact, when I played the A in the bass and played that, I was playing an A major 7. So why then does this work when I hit an E in the bass? You get a different sound. It's because it's a different chord. It's a different context. This is back to the whole thing I was talking about with context. So when I'm doing this, what I'm playing is an E6 chord to the 9 chord. I talk about this all the time. The 6 chord to the 9 chord. And let this be a refresher if you're sick of me saying it, because it's like, this is just part of my DNA when it comes to playing. And I think everybody should know about this because it's so powerful, this 6 to the 9 chord. I did it here, and I did it down here. It's just such a cool sound. And all you have to do to play the E6 and 9 with the one finger like this is just connect it to the A shape. So here's my E chord using the A shape. There's the top 3 strings of that A shape. Look at where these 2 fingers are. One is on the 7th fret, one is on the 9th fret. 7th fret, 9th fret, 9th fret, 7th fret. I'm using one finger to play the top 3 strings here. That's my E6. When I come down here and play, it's an E9. So the thing to realize here is these are both minor triads, but they mean something completely different in this context. Over an E, if I use this same triad that I used over the A, it means something else. Over the E, this is an E6. It's not all the notes of an E6, but it's almost all of them. It's 3 of the 4 notes of an E6. It's enough to make it sound like an E6. And same thing here with an E9. It's not all of the notes of an E9, but it's enough. And it hints at the sound of an E9. So I can use that same minor triad shape to make 6 chords and 9 chords. And that's why I wanted to work this in this way, so that you can see, oh, I can take the same shape. I can make a major 7 sound out of it if I want, or I can make a 6 chord or a 9 chord. Hopefully you can get your head around that. All right, so let me just make one more example of this point. So if I take an E note, we'll hit that open 6th string. If I wanted to play an E major 7, I could take any of my E major triads and drop the root 1 fret. That's it. So I could take this and just drop the root. That's the sound of an E major 7. Now that would not work in that little composition we're doing here, but that's what it sounds like to play an E major 7. Here it is up here, right? If I want to play an E6, I take my E triad, find the 5th, and go up 2 frets. So this becomes this. And you could do it for any of those E triads, E major triads. So up here, here's my 5th. So come up to here. But look at the shape I'm making. I'm making that same minor triad. Same here. Same down here. We'll play an E chord like this. Now you take your 5th and bring it up here. Look at that. I made that minor triad again. And then to play your 9 chord, you just take the 6 and go down 2 frets. From any of these shapes. That's an E9. That's an E9. That's an E9. It's enough of the E9 chord to sound like an E9. All right, so back to the composition then. Hit my open E string, then E6, E9, and then down here, E6 to an E9. And then we go back home to the A. And played that A major 7 right here. And a little line out of my major scale. All right, well, hopefully some of you, or hopefully a lot of you, have had light bulbs go off and you've picked up some new ideas from this video. Leave a comment and let me know if you've had any confusion about anything. I tried to make this as clear as I could. Let me know if you've had any breakthroughs. I love seeing that. I think it's always super helpful to read those. It lets me know kind of what's working and what isn't. And if you haven't subscribed to the Active Melody YouTube channel, I would encourage you to do that. I put out new lessons like this every Friday, and I've been doing it for about 16 years now, maybe 17, something like that. All right, we'll see you next week for something new.